Brianna's already taken off the board. So Poppy up for grabs. It's one of the big ones. I'm trying to think of what else they've left up that they've been taking away so far this series, because that Ziggs ban is new.
Yeah. Well, technically we could see Jarvan, not Jarvan. We could potentially see Vi, because that was something that we saw in their first game, and JDG also did ban it in game number 2. There's that Poppy ban, so what is the first pick here for AL? You could go for support. I do think Mbessa does start to gain...
up, by the way.
Yeah, Vi is technically left up. We could also see Qiyana early on. I'm trying to just think of mid pairings that you would want. And in my eyes, right now, Ahri is the champion that most mid laners are going to gravitate towards immediately. We're going to be seeing that Mbessa, which has been strictly in top lane for both of these teams. So not necessarily going to be expecting them to swap it into jungle, but it is a flex that is technically possible.
Yeah, so it's going to be that first pick Mbessa that is going to leave up the Vi for JunJia. It's a favorite of his. I would not surprise me to see him snap this one up. It's his most played so far this season. At 6 picks so far, they will snap that one up. Doesn't have its classic duos like the Taliyah available. The Ahri could be an option. They're looking at a Kali. This would surprise me. Blind Akali would surprise me a little bit here. I would prefer.
I mean, but what else are you going to play, though, right? Like, you could maybe play a Nivea, but, like, a Nivea's not all that great. I think Blind Galio's worse.
I agree. That's a strange blind as well. What if you just didn't pick mid here? What if you just, you
could just pick AD carry. I know.
Yeah, just like
we were talking about this during the during the break here, Gordo. But you've been really on top of it tonight, and I love it. There's no rise, so you're not going to get immediately punished for taking a bit of a lackadaisical approach, but we wanted to see a mid-jungle from JDG that's going to be a little bit more snappy and something that's going to maybe increase the potential for synergy, and Vi Galio feels like it does exactly that. There's very little ways to misplay this one, at least in my mind, so we're going to be seeing that, and you get a bit of a free matchup into the Ahri. You'll lose push, but after the first couple of recalls, you should be fine as JDG.
Yeah, I mean, definitely some really good follow-up engage for the Wukong locked in here between the Mbessa and the Ahri. Should have a lot of good ability to solo out individual targets. Granted, the Galio not going to be perhaps the most preferred one in that context. You do reveal that it's going to be Mbessa top by locking in that Wukong, and Xiaoxu happy to take advantage of that opportunity and snap up this Jax.
I love Jax here. Does also dissuade champions like Misfortune, and a lot of the champions are going to be a little less mobile. In my mind, AL are a bit less incentivized to go for champions like Ezreal because there is a Galio on the opposite side, and Vi's always going to have lockdown. So what AD carry are they looking for? To me, Gordo, it almost feels like they want a Sivir. The spell shield's going to be amazing, and against this low-range comp from JDG, it would give them a couple of outs. But I'm also kind of wondering what the supports are going to look like in this game. They haven't had too much of a massive influence on this series so far, but I feel like in this game, it's kind of going to be the piece that ties AL's comp together.
Yeah, AL just banning away some of the aggressive supports. They banned the Renata to prevent close to Renata. I bet they banned Nami here just to get rid of some of those aggressive Nami duos. The Corki. Oh, no, it's going to be Kai'Sa, actually. So, I mean, maybe JDG just snaps a Nami here, and then you can get your choice of good Nami duo, either Corki or Lucian. Both of those available to them if they do want to try to play a more aggressive bottom lane. We'll find out. I mean, Hope probably set up for something a little bit more scaly. They've got pretty good dive already available to them. That's why it's almost surprising to me that they banned the Kai'Sa. Feels like this could have been a good Kai'Sa angle for Hope. There's that Nami.
I'm going to give counterpick to Gala.
I am on point. I am on point.
I'm telling you, man. You didn't want to do a swap. You didn't want to do a role swap. It's okay. It happens. I've gotten a lot of practice on play-by-play this year. Against my will.
I've seen.
There's that Ezreal, maybe. We're going to maybe try to break up the Corki pairing that Gordo was getting excited about. It has been Hope's second most played champion this split so far, with 6 tied with Varus. What happened?
I said Ezreal Karma is dope. That would be...
Ezreal Karma is nice, but I don't know. I've got to say, AL are going to be playing a kind of hit-and-run style to me, where they're going to just try to whittle away at their opponents, maybe try to find a charm here or there, but I think that JDG are going to be way too tanky this game. Like, Galio, Jax, how are we playing on side lanes to get ourselves an advantage? Because so far, this series has really come down to big fights in 3v3s and around objectives. And I think that JDG just have so many more tools to be able to play, especially early on.
Yeah, I completely agree with you here. It's so easy to execute, too. I mean, Vi Galio just kind of plays itself a little bit, and you know that Gala is going to be able to execute on some of these quirky angles. He's such an aggressive player, so good at being able to pick his angles. He and Vampire have really made it a lot of their identity to try to play out these laning phases a little bit more aggressively. I am curious as to how much Kael can get done on this Karma, though. We've gotten to see some very, very impressive Karma games in the playoffs here. This champion just exerts so much pressure all on its own. It was last night that there were some really good Karma games to be had in the... why am I blanking on what the first series was last night? But it was in that
Weibo
first
versus
series.
IG. That was not a good series. That was a disgusting series. And
I'm not talking about the series. I'm talking about the Karma gameplay, baby. There was some good Karma gameplay to be had in that series. All right, in one particular game. I think it was game 1 or 2. Either way, that Karma was all over the map. That Karma was continuing to exert a whole bunch of pressure inside the enemy jungle, was just living inside of their walls, and I think Kael could have an opportunity to do some similar plays here if he's able to actually get the opportunity to unlock himself and leave this Ezreal to be able to farm on up. Hope should be able to do that in this sort of matchup, should be able to play at range, should be able to farm up with Mystic shots, and see if he's going to be able to do that here and let this Karma free.
Whoosh.
I feel like the JDG fans are coming alive here. They're getting a little louder as they actually win a game.
They won a game. I was gonna say they won a game, so I'm sure they're like, oh, we're not getting 3-0'd at the very least.
Well,
so
you would have hoped they would have brought that energy to 0-0, but it was a quiet start to the night, brother.
They're just not there. I keep saying this every time we don't see super strong Jios in game 1 or before game 1. It's just, hey, some of the fans are still waiting. Maybe they're falling a little bit behind in traffic. They're just like, hey, well, I'll catch game 2 onwards. You know, that's where the series really starts to cook up. But junglers are starting on opposite sides, which I don't think we're really going to be able to set up for an early objective here. And I'm a bit worried only because I do think that you really don't usually want to play for a Jax lane all that often. I'd rather just, you know, kind of explode this bottom lane, get my Nami and Corki ahead, and let them kind of terrorize the first 15 minutes here, but...
Well, we'll find out. Yeah, Nami and Corki getting pathed away from for now. I think it's also just, you don't want to run into Wukong at the scuttle. I think that's a little rough, and against Karma, you're going to get pushed in, and not much beats a empowered Mantra Q.
What is Tarzan doing?
That's interesting, actually. He's going for the invade, but he's just going to get a ward down. I guess he now knows that JunJia started bottom side. Maybe was anticipating that he would be able to find him at red. So JunJia next leveling Tarzan there a little bit by starting bottom side.
Gordo, I actually want to ask you to flip it there. I feel like we're saying, hey, JunJia doesn't want to go and meet a Wukong early on and completely avoids the possibility of even fighting him. Gordo, are you sure you want to swap tonight?
That's what I said, is it not?
Yeah, you kind of, the way you posited, the way you spun it felt like, you know, like, JunJia, he's lucky, but he's like, you know, I avoided the Wukong early. I'm doing good. I'm already ahead on my camps, and he can take his recall.
Look, JunJia did it. He's good play, man. I don't know. I mean, Tarzan didn't have to do that, so maybe it's more bad play Tarzan, but yeah, JunJia avoids it. JunJia avoids the invade. He shows up topside now. He is playing towards the Jax, despite your requests here, and I mean, Flandre is pushing in. I don't know how long he's going to be willing to hang out here, but Flandre blows both Qs, still has the W to fall back as necessary. Does use it there. Flash!
Wow.
Nice dodge from Flandre. Last second possible.
How is that possible, though? How? JunJia flash Q'd. You should never miss the knock-up there, and that gave him the window, the very tight window in between getting counterstruck, and the stun goes through, and he lives. That should never happen here. So you trade flash for flash, but Flandre's going to have a slight experience lead because JunJia just sapped so much experience from the lane. So a good play here for Flandre. Great outplay, but not a mistake that I think JDG were really hoping for on their side.
And whatever tempo advantage JunJia gained over Tarzan by dodging that invade is gone now, because it was spent hanging out topside, wasting flash. So it's going to get back to parity here in that department, and we are going to be in time for our scheduled level 6 scuttler fight. See which side that spawns on and who that's going to end up favoring, but it's a pretty even start, all things considered. Each jungler attempts a play. Neither jungler finds the success they were hoping for. Flandre is without flash, but punishing a flashless Ambessa, not the easiest thing in the world is a flashless Vi.
At least for Tarzan, all he did was get information when he didn't get anything done there. He got, hey, I know that he's going to be there. There's not going to be much for me to do. I like this here from Tarzan. Instead of doing his camps, he's going to start up this dragon. JunJia's on the top side of the map, and this will give him level, not get him level 6 immediately, but with his camps here and the scuttle that's spawning on top side, imagine that AL will be in a really nice advantage state. So despite all of the worries that we had, I wanted to see this 2v2 in bot lane start to go off to, without a hitch. Hope and Kael have done a really strong job of maintaining priority in this 2v2, and now have set themselves up with a decent objective early.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a nice little early boost to AL to be able to secure that one nice and early. And that's, I feel like the second game in a row where that's happened. We've just had these red side bot lanes taking so much control early that their junglers can just come in and take the early dragon for free. No problem there. JunJia does know that Tarzan should be around the bottom side here, so we're going to take advantage of the opportunity to get a little vision as he waits for his scuttler to spawn, and he should be able to secure that one uncontested. Tarzan doesn't mind, though. He already got the dragon. He's got camps to clear. No problemo.
He also just now has the jungle timer. That's probably my least favorite change of this season, or last season, where if you get the spot of their jungle camps, oh, well, now you just have the timer for the game. So he knows. You can already see the ping starting to come on out. He's going to be on the bottom side of the map. He is spotted here by AL, thanks to their own vision coverage. And now we have level 6 is starting to come online. And even in the mid lane, we're hitting level 7 at this point. I kind of want to see what we're going to get from this 2v2. So far, JDG have already started to temper us with some souring of the lanes, but I mean, you're playing Galio, right? Like, we don't even have our Merc Treads yet. We're, what I am assuming is picking, I mean, what are we building with? Are we going Leandries? Surely not.
Perhaps getting an early start on Riftmaker.
Possibly, true.
Yeah, but I mean, it'll
I would
be
accept
a
the Rocket Belt. I would accept the Rocket Belt as
the
well.
Rocket Belt is, you know what? People are so into the Rocket Belt ever since Chovy started doing it on every champion, right? He does it like on Azir and stuff now, so it very well might be that.
Double cancel. Great job, Hope. They're just clearing out vision. AL still have a minor advantage. We do have Grub spawning in 30 seconds, so you can see that JDG are... That's why they're trying to go for the recalls. They're trying to sync up and play around topside. Because of that vision being taken away, though, AL are going to be a little bit late to this rotation. Seems like with Nami not moving over, they are more focused on this 2v2, like we had mentioned a little bit earlier on in the series. But how are we playing around? Are we even going to bother to play around this, right? Because you have a Jax, you have a Galio. I think playing on sides is honestly not bad as of a way to be able to play this game, but we also really haven't seen Xiaoxu have that big impact, even in the first 2 games of the series.
Agree. Tarzan paying a visit towards mid, does get just as punched. HongQ will flash on out and absorb the gank for now. No summoners blown by the AL crew, though, so they're not going to feel too bad. Kael has been unlocked. He does move himself away from Hope. They've built up a solid little lead in the bottom lane. They've got themselves maybe about a wave and a half or so advantage from all of the pushing they've been doing, and it, of course, did secure their team the first dragon. And now it sets Ezreal up into a position where should be able to just farm out pretty safely. You know, Corki's not completely demolishing the lane by any means, so going to just try to pair Tarzan and Kael up together any opportunity they get. And they do get themselves another bottom scuttler here.
Gordo, how How hateful am I allowed to be?
You've been pretty hateful so far tonight, so I don't know if we've
Whoa.
found the limit yet.
Whoa! All right, never mind. I'm gonna spread peace, love, and positivity. I love what Shanks has been able to do in this game. I think it is a mistake for HongQ to, and we're already gone, 5 seconds in. I think it's a mistake for HongQ to not go for Merc Treads early in this matchup. We can see that consistently, even with the magic shield that he gets on his W, this Galio just has zero way of standing up in the lane. And because Shanks, at least for now, is going to have the damage to be able to push him around, it's been a very tough, I think, for JDG to really do anything, whether that's directly in mid lane or even finding ganks on other side lanes, trying to go for invades. HongQ is almost always sitting at half HP or less, and he just teleported back to the lane, and now we're losing out on grubs. So we need to change something up in the mid lane, and we'll have time later in this series, but we need to help HongQ, whether that's getting a support in this lane or just getting bodies to force Shanks off of the lane. Otherwise, we're going to continue to see him, at least for the time being, get a small advantage over his opponent.
Absolutely. Tarzan doing a great job, though. Just finding positions to be able to take these objectives so far. JunJia, been post level 6 for a while now, has not gotten the opportunity to use cease and desist on much of anything. And like we called out, it's not really a very gankable lane in mid. It's often what you're hoping to make happen with these Vi selections. We'll at least be able to lock down the Ezreal coming into the later game, but you'd like to see some early plays be made with this kind of comp that JDG have drafted for themselves. You'd like to be able to abuse this quirky Nami or try to play towards the Jax while Flandre Slash was still down. Didn't really get a chance to do that, not that it was the easiest thing in the world to do. And it's just kind of AL eking themselves out a little bit of a lead. They've got CS advantages in bot. They've got themselves the first dragon. They've got themselves the grubs, and they've had a peaceful early game that favors them.
I'm pressing tab as JDG, and I'm saying we have to fight now. I have Sundered Sky completed on my Vi. There's no Trinity Force yet here for Tarzan. If they get a time to either win this fight, or if they win this before he finishes this item, I think it's a huge travesty for the game.
Oh, what if AL starts the fight instead? Tarzan goes on in, gets stuck in the bounce house, and he's going to go down for first blood. HongQ walks away with that one, and AL heard your call and decided to give JDG a bone there. They walk on in, and Tarzan goes down.
Top A, of course. Controlling the strings. That's how we're going to posit this play. It was him.
He trained them wrong
all
on
along.
purpose as a joke. As here
Whoa!
goes Shanks diving on towards JunJia, not quite finding the return on the Orb of Deception. Now getting chased down. Vampire flashes, but shorts the bubble. Shanks is without any more dashes. Lands one more charm. Hope is finding his way onto HongQ. Chaos breaking out around this bottom river now, as Hope will be able to run HongQ down, tie things up at 1-1. Shanks was able to get back in the mid lane, and JDG kind of just give it right back.
Yep, they get the kill, they get first blood. Congratulations, you got 400 gold. We're going to give up a dragon, and we're also going to give up another turret plate here for Hope. This was before their recall, by the way. So Tarzan comes back on the map with Trinity Force. We're going to see once Shanks and Hope take their recall, they're more than likely going to be finishing what is a Luden's Echo and a Trinity Force as well for this Ezreal. I mean, that is a massive swing in terms of the tempo of this game. 2 dragons now over to Anyone's Legends. I am honestly just baffled yet again by not only the decision making, but just the layering afterwards. JunJia is mechanically fumbling here in this series and in the playoffs as a whole.
This is why I described you as a hater, Alk. I don't know what you... You wonder where
I don't know
got
why
this
I
impression?
tried, man. I tried, just like... it's so frustrating because I want to see good play from these teams.
I can't disagree. This is a rough couple of minutes to see. I'm a little upset at Tarzan, our MVP, for starting that fight too. That was not the play to go for. Wow. All right. Bye-bye, Summoner Spells. There goes Xiaoxu.
That's what he gets for having, that's what Flandre gets for having one of the slowest abilities in the entire game. And Bessa ult, if you get hit by that thing and you're not crowd controlled, you probably earned it. So, flashes right out of that one. There's not much to play for though, right? Like, yes, we have Herald in a minute, but I'm still like really struggling to see how we're going to win a fight. I misspoke. It is not a Luden's Echo or a Ludus Tempest. I would have been really happy, but again, I have to just wallow in my pity and sorrow. So we're just going to have a Malignance come through and upgrade at tier 3 boots. Please, HongQ. We already have the Rocket Belt. Let's just, please just put the Merc Treads in the bag.
He did go Rocket Belt, though. Got that one right. And they do, in fact, take multiple plates up in this top side. Xiaoxu getting a little bit of additional gold here. Does keep himself scaling on the Jax. Triforce is done for both him and Forky. A decent power spike over for AL, of course. Or for JDG, rather. But, of course, they do have Triforces to match on the AL side. Swapping up mid laners and top laners are AL. Flandre moves into the bottom side to face off with HongQ.
This is the one time we're not having the Merc Treads as good, because he's not immediately bought into the specific lane matchup here.
He gets stats.
I am a little surprised that it is not Dusk and Dawn for Xiaoxu. I know that this item did get... Wait, this is not actually the patch where Dusk and Dawn gets touched, if I remember correctly. But even if it was,
touched on like 0.2, but yeah, not again.
Yeah, it's still very, very strong. So surprised to not see it here. Maybe just in this game, he really wants the upfront burst, but just feel like stacking your passive versus an Mbessa is pretty good. But maybe you just don't have the time. I can understand that with how bursty this AL composition can be later on in the game. So we have Herald. Two top, both HongQ and Flandre can join, but in different ways. Currently, Flandre, I think his goal right now is to just keep HongQ locked in with... He's already at a 3rd HP on this Galio, so the longer he keeps him in this bottom lane and you can get him to teleport back to this lane, I think it's a pretty big win coming on through for JDG, but they're going to send the Galio top to try to match.
It's completed. HongQ is up in here, boots in tow. Clear out this wave. That is going to leave Flandre alone for a little while, though. He's very close to the first turret. I think he might get it, even with Xiaoxu showing up. Yeah, there it goes. A little bit of bonus gold over to AL. They're about 2K in the lead now. And again, this is like just a walk through the park of an early game for AL here. They kind of get everything. They don't really need to make ganks happen. They don't need to make invades happen. They just play out their lanes, start winning on bottom side, absorb gank top, get every objective, and here we are. Happy campers.
All right, let's see. Does Flandre's TPing top, so who's going to match Jax? It's going to be Ahri. I'm going to say that there was a moment here where Xiaoxu doesn't have teleport, so they could have gone for a 4v5 on this Herald, but a couple of recalls coming on through. I do want to note 2 items, really, really big breakpoint for both teams. Corki's going to have his Muramana, but Hope is really has at least a pretty big advantage when it comes to the tier stacking, so there might be a small window here where AL will have a much stronger 2-item core, especially on their carries. We still have yet to have really much go on here in this game. Gala stepping forward.
Tarzan and JunJia fighting up against each other as well. Gala landing some of these nice rockets.
Okay.
Tarzan locked on down once again. HongQ arrives for the backup, and Tarzan going to fall on down. It's a replay of the fight over the last dragon. And AL loses their jungler nice and early. 10 seconds to go on this dragon. I do think JDG are going to be able to pick it up for themselves.
Good. All right. Punish the Wukong. He can't break through a Vi. If Vi just locks him down, Nami as well. Good level of play. We're getting the dragon, we're stopping the stacking, and AL can do nothing in response, at least in being able to really generate much more revenue here this game. So, Gordo, maybe they're just scaling in the series as a whole. You know, Game 1 wasn't even close at all. Game 2 was kind of not close, and then it wasn't.
And then it was
They just won. Yeah. And now we're having a game where, despite some of their failures, JDG are still getting it done. This was a great layering of the crowd control from them. And still, again, there wasn't that big burst coming on through from anyone's Legend that we were expecting.
Oh, Shanks getting collapsed on here. Doesn't have Spirit Rush. Has to flash. HongQ's not done. Going to get his Justice Punch interrupted. JunJia still on top of him. Vampire doesn't connect the bubble, though. And despite JDG's best efforts and despite 3 flashes, they don't get onto Shanks.
They're going to trade this mid-tier 1 for a bottom lane tier 1. Shanks is doing a lot of work this series in just being able to survive. We're sending multiple members top. We get 2 turrets for this play after JDG invested a lot to the bottom lane. That's not really what you want to see, and that's gold going into the right pockets. That's Hope getting that alongside Tarzan. That's Flandre and Shanks getting access to that top gold, and he doesn't even still get this bottom lane turret. He's gonna have to spend a lot of time down here before he finishes this one off.
Where's my top A cam, man? That guy's losing his mind right now that this happened. The fact that Shanks gets away from this is pretty nuts without ultimate. Just has to flash once. Great place, charm. This is a little unacceptable. JunJia flashes and shorts. Vampire flashes and does not connect the bubble. You give Shanks some credit for that one, but also, I don't know. It's not... Even if you kill the Ahri there, I don't think that's worth everything you lost. But the fact that you didn't, oh boy, oh boy.
That was another Vi Q flash that I really wish I didn't see. Or at least the audience. I shouldn't be
Well, that
as
one
selfish.
was a flash Q, if it makes you feel better. So it was...
No, it doesn't. No.
I'm trying to help you here, brother. I'm here for you.
I should just
I'm here to support you.
I should be less selfish. I should not ask the players to do it for me. I should ask them to do it for the audience and themselves. You know, let's look for a little something.
Another attempt.
Flandre.
How many summoners can we blow in the bottom lane, and can we get a kill for it? Flandre getting collapsed on. HongQ has arrived. TP. All right, this guy's not getting out of here. This guy is done for. Kill goes to Xiaoxu, who is increasingly looking like he is going to need to be the carry for JDG in this series. Can they keep up the side lane pressure? Can they get enough this time? There is some pressure on towards the inner turret from Shanks. He will get a little bit back, but this time I think it's a positive play for JDG.
Trinity Force, and this guy's just knocking away at this turret. Sure, Shanks gets himself a plate, but hopefully Xiaoxu can actually get some time here. He'll get 2 plates if he's lucky. Oh my god. 3 plates if he really, really wants it. So Tarzan's going to push him off this wave. I like the idea that JDG started to shadow towards this side of the map. They'll get the bottom side scuttle, and it's the evolved scuttle as well. So we'll give them a big vision cone to be able to clear out any of the available wards here. But I really think that they should be, after pushing this mid wave, walk into bot and allow for Xiaoxu to at least fade, to pretend like he's going into Fog of War and control this area of the map. You have a minute and a half before Dragon, and the gold is within touching distance of each other. Talked about spikes here. Gala's going to be finishing his Muramana soon, and that's going to kind of open up a large amount of play here coming in for JDG.
Really should. Baron the only objective up for now. We are about 90 seconds to go until Dragon number 4. AL could get themselves onto Soul Point if they want to play for it. They do have some push going for themselves in the bottom side. Muramana completed on both marksmen. This could be the fight that really starts to break open this game if the teams do both opt into it. And everybody just going back to try to get their last couple items here. That's a Black Cleaver done for JunJia. Tarzan keeping his options open by keeping some vision on the Baron, but I think this bottom side river about to be the site of a lot of focus.
Also just noticed that there is a ton of Merc Treads from AL here, at least for their top side. There's not a lot of magic damage, so maybe going against the grain when I was talking about the Dusk and Dawn edition for Jax. He's going to have full physical damage, and you also have to think denting blows, Black Cleaver. They have some shred available to them. There's not a ton of resistance he is, so kind of makes AL a bit squishier than maybe they themselves are expecting. I've already seen Tarzan get focused a ton for the last 2 deaths he's had, so I wonder if that's going to be a consistent theme here in this game. They continue to make picks.
Engage coming on through. They think they've got Shanks, but he is able to double dash out to safety. That does cost him his Spirit Rush. Important tool for the team fight down. No ultimates used by JDG for that one. Pretty non-committal. True Shot Barrage getting a little bit of a chunk on down. This is a TP coming on through. One being channeled by Flandre, the other being channeled by Shanks to get back in at full HP.
Spotted.
An ultimate back. Going to be a smite fight over this Dragon. Over the wall comes Xiaoxu. Thinks that he's got the angle. They get into the Rift Herald. That's going to the opportunity to smite. Crashes it into the wall. Tarzan doesn't get much done there. Here comes Galio over the top. And AL have got to bail on this fight. They can get out with their lives. That is going to be the closest thing to a victory they're going to get here. But JDG snag themselves the Dragon and get paid.
That's a massive mistake. I mean, you can see the pings right now. They have no control of the map. The Herald's on the bottom side and is going to continue to push. No one's going to match this. there's a potential Baron on the cards here, and Hex Tech portals mean they can get back out wherever they want. JDG need to at least ascertain some vision. You can see they're playing in the banana brush. They want to see if they can make a pick. Shanks has his ultimate now. That was a pretty big mistake though from Tarzan on that last play. They're gonna take all of this vision down. They're gonna take away this blue buff. Xiaoxu's finally gonna answer on bot, and he has TP for this very tentative spot that JDG find themselves in. Their heart rate definitely increased a little bit there when they saw all this fog of war.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there are still a lot of ultimates available on AL too. They still have the public execution. The Spirit Rush is now back. Not going to be the case for the engaged combo of JunJia and HongQ. But they are not going to start up Baron, so there's nothing to actually force a fight over. At the end of the day, JDG did just secure themselves their dragon. They won out their smite fight, like you said. I don't know that Tarzan intended to get inside of that Rift Herald, but didn't have the team fight value and didn't have the ability to win the smite fight. So
he took the hope angle. He got into it and immediately crashed the Herald into a wall. He's like, oh, well, I'll get my knock up and I'll bounce.
He just said, I don't want to be in this Rift Herald anymore, and that's the only way to get out.
Maybe he could have drifted it to another lane. I feel like if we're not winning that fight, let's just take it down. Let's just move it. Just use it as a free taxi to the other side of the map or something. But oh well. AL will lose the Herald for very little. So again, I think at JDG's gain, and they get the second dragon. Or themselves a second dragon. 2 Hex Tech dragons is not all that bad when you think about the stats it's going to be giving you. And the problem I'm having now with AL is I don't think their lead is big enough that they can kind of push their way around the Summoner's Rift. Going to HongQ now, but yeah, they just don't have the DPS. And the way that this team typically likes to function with the champions that they have is Ezreal and Ahri are going to chip away at frontline and some of the weaker members, try to find charms where they can, and then just let Ahri's ultimate and Flandre kind of be the people that finish off plays, that be the kind of the people who knock down the pins set up by AL's damage dealers.
Absolutely. I think they're in a good position to be able to play the fights that way if they can absorb this engaged combo so far. I mean, JunJia and HongQ have been all over Tarzan. That's kind of been the story of the closest things to team fights we've had so far. It's been Tarzan getting the fight started on to JunJia, HongQ bailing him out with a heroic entrance, and Tarzan dropping. Happened a couple times in a row now, but as the game scales up, as Tarzan gets a little bit tankier, as Hope starts to dish out more damage, he's 3 items deep on this Ezreal, that might start to change. Shanks clearing waves out up here. A little bit of blows exchanged. So far, Flandre the only one on the bottom side. 5 members top for JDG.
I love this Ezreal build, man. This has, in my mind, kind of revitalized this champion and brought him back into the fold. Spear of Shojin was already extremely broken, but having Endless Hunger, you get bonus ability haste based on your attack damage, and it gives you Omnivamp, and it gives you Tenacity. It's honestly like insane how much this item gives you, and really, really good for Ezreal. So that, and I imagine he's going to go Spear of Shojin. He's going to be a rather tanky Ezreal. He's 2,300 HP already. Spear of Shojin's going to give him another 450. He's going to be very close to having 3,000 HP, which will keep him out of burst rate. What is this HongQ build? Rocket Belt, Void Staff. I mean, I get it. They have double Merc Treads topside, but Jesus, man.
I don't know. Man's looking to dish out the damage. Definitely passing on, you know, those sorts of Rift Makers. Definitely passing on the tankier Galio build, too. I think indexing into doing a little bit more magic damage himself with this build. Just wants to...
I guess he doesn't have any AP damage on his team, so it makes sense. I just don't know if I would have gone Void Staff second.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting to not see like the Rift Maker and stuff. It's like the kind of more traditional AP items.
No.
So he's getting collapsed on here. He's going to be wishing he was a little bit tankier at this rate as Tarzan going to start off the fight onto him. Does go into the space as Xiaoxu able to TP in, and AL immediately on the back foot here. Nice charm though found by Shanks. He's still going to be able to stay standing. Gets the taunt back onto 2 tidal waves over the job, being able to break up the fight. Tarzan going to be first with the fall. Retreat from AL as once again they manage to set up their engaged combo. Down goes the front line. It's a double kill to Gala. And AL are pushed back yet again. They try to attack the global, and it still doesn't pay off.
Gala put out so much DPS in that fight, and that was before he's going for the flash forward. That secures them their third dragon and sole point here in this game. And the early game composition from AL really didn't get much done. I mean, Hope had a 300 gold lead for portions of the game, but it didn't really matter, and that was not enough to really push this game. We talked about side lane being a strategy here for JDG. The Galio, despite our ministrations about the build with the Chain Crushers and his shield, he is more than tanky enough to deal with them. Look back at this fight, and Tarzan, there's so many small things that help out. Stopping Xiaoxu from getting in with a counter-strike is great. This Proto Belt here, or the Rocket Belt from HongQ, keeps him alive. The taunt as well is just amazing. And look at this big one from Gala, right into the back line. Just massive amounts of damage from this Corki right now. And all in all, AL just looking a little bit more disheveled because they don't have clear lines of engagements. You are so reliant on either Tarzan getting massive knockups or this charm from Shanks landing.
Yeah, you kind of called it out there. It's crazy how long HongQ survives as a Galio that is not built to survive. Great job avoiding the public execution and makes it so that Flandre is basically useless in that fight. And it's just not the kind of fight that AL want to have for themselves. Be able to find the success. I like the conceptual idea of forcing out the Galio. Instead, they're just going to go for JunJia once again. It's been the previous strategy. Hasn't worked out for him before. They get JunJia incredibly low. HongQ up there in a 1 versus 4 finally will drop on down, but it's in trade for Flandre, and Xiaoxu running amok in the back line is able to take down Shanks. Tarzan drops down to JunJia on the opposite side. Hope doing his best to keep the damage flowing, but it's just not enough. It's a 3-for-1 in favor of JDG.
They're going to start up the Baron as well. The damage is just not there. 2-item Ahri is not enough, and not even a GA completed here. Hope and Kael, the only two left from AL to maybe squeeze them off of this, but it's only on to Vampire. Xiaoxu's coming in on a flank right now. Hope is dashing forward.
That's crazy, Hope, as JunJia connects with the Vault Breaker, and Kael left out to dry. No remaining teammates, has to head out, has to surrender the Baron. Vampire looking juicy in that tri-brush, just completely baits Hope into his death.
Man, this is a very strange game. We'll take a look right back at this fight. They have no control. They put so much into Tarzan, or into JunJia here, but he not only gets the ultimate out onto Flandre, Flandre dashes away due to the reinforcements, and then HongQ is also on the opposite side buying space. Xiaoxu with a massive counter-strike gets a 2-man stun, pushes them off, and despite all of our complaints about JunJia in this game, his early games have been really weak, but the Sundered Sky healing and just the Conqueror and the shielding from him and his teammates is making it impossible for AL to find kills at the start of the... It's 9-2 here in this game, and despite everything else, they're at sole point. We're in a minute and a half before this spawns. JDG are in prime position to send us into Game 4 with a 2-1 lead.
Such a great start here for JDG, but it's time to ask ourselves the question. We all watch JDG's previous series up against Top Esports. Is it throwable? They've had significant leads in 2 different losses against Top Esports. 3K in one, 6.5K in the other. They lost both of those games. Can they keep it up against AL and avoid returning to those habits?
They also did have Soul Point in one of those games, so this is getting very oddly familiar. I'm getting scared now that I forgot we had this lower third prepped, and I'm feeling a little worried for their chances all of a sudden. I don't like the feeling this is giving me. Oh my, big one from Gala. Takes out a huge chunk of Shanks. 45 seconds, let's just keep using this Baron. It's up for another minute here. Let's just keep on pushing, getting more of these waves. HongQ sitting in mid lane. He's under absolutely zero threat at this time. I love this here for JDG.
Really good setup for them here, keeping the pressure in multiple lanes. They're also crashing a huge wave top that's getting completely dropped by AL. Very good position for them to be in at this stage, and they just want to hold this They're TPing multiple members back here. I think they probably just got a couple more item spikes. So they're going to have their full strength back. Good true shot barrage from Hope, going to try to soften them up a little bit, but we're 10 seconds away from the Dragon.
Oh,
and
Xiaoxu!
Right where they want to be, and they're going to start the fight early. Dive in onto the back line from Xiaoxu. Forces Shanks out right away. Flandre the next target. He dances back, but will drop on down. Shanks doing his best to return damage from the side. Not going to be able to accomplish too much. Guardian Angel pop for Tarzan, and he's going to be finished as soon as he comes out of it. 2-0 JDG. Dragon Soul next on the menu.
What an insane flank, and Xiaoxu is having the series that we wanted to see from this guy. Gala's going to walk forward. He'll get his Galio to ult to save him, but that's Soul almost entirely here for JDG.
Advance forward, JDG crushing him. I don't think it's throwable anymore, Alk.
Wow. Wow.
Don't ask, don't. In a weird way, they're similar, all right? JDG about to move up 2-1 in this series. What a showing. After tough early games, 3 games in a row, JDG are scaling into this one, Alk, and they find themselves up 2-1.
It's just in. Gordo thinks all color casters are the same. Yeah, it's fine. It's okay. Man, JDG, I'm happy, and man, that top lane. I love me some Xiaoxu. I was already pushing him last year in Split 3. I thought he was the best, if not second best in All-Pro. He wasn't able to win any awards, but damn it, man, this season it's looking good. He is really, I think, carrying this team. And look, they made a couple of mistakes in the early game, but come those mid games, AL, their composition just gave them 0 ways to be able to play it out from there.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the Zari team fights are ugly, man. We'll see them when we get back into the replays, but it's pretty inefficient usage of a lot of the abilities coming in through there from Shanks, and they end up short on damage in a lot of these team fights. They are doing a really good job of stopping the full Wukong Ambessa combo from coming through, either disrupting it with big heroic entrances or just being able to dodge out on the public execution entirely, and that deficit in damage cannot be made up for by the Ahri Ezreal duo. Mostly because the Ahri's not doing any damage, but also because the Ezreal needs time to stay up.
Yeah, Ezreal just did not have the consistent damage. Also want to say that Flandre a bit more invisible on the Ambessa, but it's really hard to play when you're getting Galio taunted, into Nami ult, into Counter-Strike, and then you just lose all your HP. So it's really hard for him to play this champion in this instance, but he's also a little bit quieter. I kind of want to posit that I think a lot of this game came down to how JDG just shut Tarzan out of a lot of those fights. Some of the first early kills that we saw in this game was Tarzan walking up to JunJia, and even though JunJia might have had some individual misplays, the rest of the team just dogpiled on top of this Wukong, and he just couldn't move.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like a damned if you do, damned if you don't as far as their targets go. They attacked the global once in going for HongQ, and he was able to play it out really, really effectively. Got some great backup from his teammates, got Mikhail's out of the combo, backed himself out to safety, and avoided going down. And then every other fight, it was attempting to engage onto the Vi, who in turn got bailed out by that same Galio. I mean, Vi Galio, we talked about it being an easy kind of duo to execute, and it kind of pays off in each and every engagement that we see for the duration of the game.
We'll come back to the idea that I had about, like, draft economy, especially in a fearless world. And Jax is not a champion that Flandre has played. It's a champion that he kind of has moved away from and has tried to stick to some of his more unique counters, but a lot of the really strong junglers on this in pro play right now are gone. You also got rid of some very strong champions for Hope in the Corki. So we're starting to move down the list. I'm also thinking about all the enchanters. This is where the engages start to come on through. This is around the time where we see something like Thresh for Vampire. So I'm really, really keyed in and wondering what we're going to get, because there's not a ton of them still up. Even Rakan, I think, has kind of been missing so far.
Yeah, Zyrakan, played by Gala and Vampire in the previous series. I wonder if we'll get to see it from them again. Here's, that one team fight where they attempt to get onto HongQ. He's nice stasis here. I think Vampire able to bail him out, stop him from getting publicly executed after this charm.
Ooh.
Really good stuff there. And yeah, if they can't get that combo on through, if they can't blow anybody up, if they're still fighting 5v5 after all those combos come on out, it's bad news for AL.
This is a very strange series because, I mean, the first two games, it could have been an AL 2-0. If JDG had not already gotten themselves that last-minute victory in the last game, we would already be on series point, and I think our talking points would maybe feel a little bit different, but JDG are now on match point, which feels like a really big accomplishment, not just from the regular season perspective, but AO or at least were the best team here in playoffs. They're the most consistent. That, with their regular season results, they are supposed to be the absolute threat. It's them versus everybody else, but in this series, I think that there are some drafts that have been a little bit more risky for them to take, and finally they're getting punished. At least here in this one, it was a pretty big punish in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really just kind of clean, easy to execute draft for JDG, fresh off a pretty tilting loss for AL as well in that game number 2, and I think they're just able to keep their calm and execute appropriately. Well, you know, AL stumble right out the gate, right? It's 2 fights in a row where Tarzan's just seemingly ignoring the fact that Galio exists while he starts off these fights, and he is routinely and severely punished for them. JDG get to play out a pretty simple game here. AL, despite the fact that they were able to secure all those early objectives, that they were able to get some nice early leads, it just doesn't end up mattering because the fights they choose are not the right ones.
Give me a Xiaoxu MVP for this one, please. I need it. I am 100% expecting Gala, though, to get it because big boom boom damage on the Corki. So, please.
I wouldn't even hate HongQ. I think he played some good fights there. He pressed R with the best of them. And sometimes that's what it takes. But JunJia. I mean, he certainly got ulted by Tarzan to start some losing fights. That definitely happened.
I'm going to
never let anyone tell you you need to hit Flash Q to win MVP on Vi.
I'm going to say, if I have nothing nice to say, I'm not going to say it. So I'm just going to merely ask our producer to send us to the 2-cam. Waiting for the stinger. Waiting for the stinger. All right, he hates me. It's fine. We're going to see the votes. 3 out of 8 votes.
It was a tight vote.
Scam.
It was a tight vote.
Scam
right.
Pog vote.
It was a tight vote. Well, we'll give him a break there. Well, that's a 2-1 lead for JD Gaming. Somehow, despite all the criticisms levied at them through about a game and a half, JDG find themselves on match point here. AL pushed up against the wall, find themselves in the same position JDG were just a couple days ago. Let's see if they can produce a similar result for themselves. We're going to throw it to a quick break here, but we will be back for game number 4 before you know it. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.